Hello students, welcome to the biology class. In our previous session, we discussed about the various bases of the classification in animal kingdom. Today we are continue with some more features by which we can classify the animal kingdom. The first one is the pattern of development. What do you mean by the pattern of development? When fertilization occurs outside the body, say in the medium of water, it is called as external fertilization. The examples of the external fertilization is Pisces means fishes, amphibians and hemichordates. And when the fertilization occurs inside the mother's body, it is called internal fertilization. Example, mammals, aves, reptiles, insects, and the human beings. They also come under the example of the internal fertilization. There is one more pattern of the development when fertilized egg or unfertilized eggs are laid. The phenomena is called ovipary. Ovipary means the laying of egg. In frog, that is the unfertilized ovum or the egg, whereas in the birds, that is the fertilized egg. And when the development occurs inside the mother's body but is not dependent on the mother's body, such type of the development is known as ovovivipary. This is a different type of the development, that is when development occurs inside the mother's body but is not depend on the mother's body, means nourishment, that particular development, the care is not being taken from the mother's body, only the development is being taking place inside the mother's body. Such type of the development is known as ovovivipary. The example is reptiles. When young ones are born, after complete development inside the mother's body, the phenomena is called as vivipary, means the process, the phenomena in which the birth to the young ones takes place, and the very common that is in the mammals, in the human beings. And when the two primary germ layers in the gastrula, that is the animal is diploblastic. So what does it mean? That during the development of the embryo, it is divided into the three germ layers, that is your ectoderma, then there is a mesoderma and endoderma. So when there is only a two germ layers during the development in an animal, the animal is known as diploblastic. But when three germ layers, so what are these three germ layers? That is your ectoderma, mesoderma and endoderma. Then the animal is known as your triploblastic. So we are having a two types of animal depending upon the presence of the germ layers. If two primary germ layers, that is known as the diploblastic, and if three primary germ layers are present, then it is known as the triploblastic. If blastophore develops into mouth, so when it develops into mouth, that is mouth opening develops before the anal opening, the animal is called as protozoan, that is your arthropods, that is insect. If anal opening means through which the ejection of undigested food takes place before the mouth opening, then it is called as the deuterozoon. So if the anal opening develops before the mouth opening, the animal is called as deuterostome, that is your chordata or echinodermata. So we are having another two types of animal, that is your diploblastic and triploblastic animals, as we discussed in our earlier feature 2. The animal in which the cells are arranged in two germ layers, then it is diploblastic, and the cells are outer is ecto and inner is endo. An undifferentiated jelly-like layer called as the mesogolia is present between the two layers, that is your ctenophora or cnidaria. And the another one is an animal in which the cells are arranged in three germ layers, that is called as your triploblastic. The three layers are ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. So all the animals as the one of the particular animals which are the diploblastic, that is your ctenophores, they are the diploblastic. Rest all the animals, they are known as your triploblastic. So in this you can see the various images or the figures that is showing the germinal layers. So what are these germinal layers are? That is your ectoderma, that is your outer layer. Inner one is your endoderma. In between you are having a mesogolia, or you can say the mesoderma is there. So this is your diploblastic and this is your triploblastic. So this is about the pattern of the development and the presence of the germ layers. The next is the segmentation of the body. The body is unsegmented. They are not being divided into number of the divisions or the segment, that is in the poriferans, that is coelentrates and esculenthes. Segmentation is non-metameric, means the division is not there, that when each segment is more or less independent and new segments are added from the anterior end, means each and every segment they have their own dependent, they can be there, they are having their own physiology. For example is tapeworm. The segmentation is metameric when segments are interdependent and segments are added from the posterior end, as in case of the earthworm. So when the body is the body is unsegmented. Number two, the body is segmented, but all the segments, they are independent of each other and new segments are added from the anterior end, that is called as your tapeworm. Segmentation is metameric when the segments are interdependent and they are added from the posterior. The example is your earthworm. The next and the very important basis of classification is your notochord. So it is the tubular rod-like structure present between the nerve cord and alimentary canal, and it is derived from mesoderm. Mesoderm means the middle layer of your germ layers. So we are having three primary germ layers, that is your innermost is the endo, middle is meso and the outer one is ecto. So the notochord, which is a tubular rod-like structure present between the nerve cord and the alimentary canal, and it is derived from the mesoderm. Animal which possesses the notochord at some stage, either in the embryonic stage and it continue in the development stage, they are called as the chordata or chordates. Very important. What are chordates? That is the animal which possesses notochord at some stages in their lifetime, and the animal which never possesses the notochord in any of their lifetime, they are being called as non-chordates. So what is the difference between the chordates and the non-chordates? So chordates, they have notochord, they never have notochord. Central nervous system that includes single, dorsal, hollow nerve cord. Central nervous system include single, here it is double, dorsal opposite is ventral and hollow opposite is the solid nerve cord. So chordates, they are having a notochord which is single, dorsal and hollow, and the central nervous system in non-chordates, that is the double, ventral and solid. So heart is ventral here, that is in the non-chordate, that is the heart is dorsal. Hemoglobin is present in the erythrocytes, means your RBCs. They are red in color because of the presence of the pigment that is called as a hemoglobin pigment, whereas that is absent in case of RBCs, but they are present, but in the dissolve in the plasma plasma, that is a fluid part of your blood. So we are having a fluid part, that is a plasma, and we are having a solid part in the blood, that is your cell, that is RBCs, WBCs and the platelets. Hemoglobin is present in the RBCs, in the chordates, whereas hemoglobin is present but not in the cell, it is dissolved in the plasma. So pharynx is perforated by the gill slits. Gill slits, they are absent. A post-anal tail is present at the some stages of the life and it is absent. So these are the some 5 major differences between the chordata and non-chordata. And now we are having here the flow chart of your animal kingdom, and each and every phylum we will discuss one by one in our next session. So kingdom Animalia, so it is multicellular. So we are having a various bases of classification, that is the level of organization, then we have a symmetry, then the body cavity of coelom, and then we are having the various phylum divided accordingly. So level of organization, we are having the first level, that is a cellular level, and under the cellular level the phylum which we will discuss, that is your Porifera. Only one phylum is present in the level of organization, that is your cellular level of organization, and that is your Porifera. And the second level is, it may be tissue, group of tissue, that is your organ, group of organ, that is your organ system. And symmetry, we are having two type, that is your radial symmetrical and bilateral. In the radial symmetry, we said when the body is divided into two identical halves from any central axis, and under that we will study the phylum, that is your coelentrates and Kinetophora. Bilateral, when you get the two identical halves only by the single plane, that is the bilateral. So the further you can say the basis of classification is the bilaterals are there. So we are having only one particular phylum under the cellular level, that is Porifera. We are having the tissue level of organization in Coelenterata and Kinetophora. Along with that, they shows the radial symmetry. Now we are having the organ levels and bilateral symmetrical without the body cavity, that is platyhelminthes. And we are having the pseudocoelomate, that is with the false coelom, that is your Schelminthes. And the true coelom, when the coelom cavity is present and the body is bilateral with the organ system, is Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and then Hemichordata and Chordata. So this is the broad classification of kingdom kingdom Animalia based on the common fundamental features. So in this we will start with our Porifera, followed by the Coelenterata, then Kinetophore, Platyhelminthes, Schelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Molluscus, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. Again, the chordata will be divided into two subdivisions, that is invertebrates and vertebrates. Then we have a various classes of the vertebrates. So in our next session, we will discuss about the various phylums that will up to the Schelminthes, that is bilateral and that is without any coelom. Okay, so till then, stay home, stay healthy, and thank you.